You're so precious. I love it so much, honestly. Hi, Christoph. Well, actually, welcome to Rhino Point Studios.
Well, I thank you for having me.
I want you to like look and talk into that camera, okay?
Okay, Duke.
All right. So tell us your name.
My name is Christoph Key.
All right. So tell us why you're here.
I am a Denver resident that is into spirituality and living a clean life.
What does a clean life mean?
To me, it's making conscious decisions for the betterment of your life, the health of your life, from the food that you put into your body, the supplements that you put into your body, things that you don't put into your body. All of those things are very important to me. And I work on self-growth every single day.
Can you tell me a little bit about what a typical day in the life of Christoph might look like?
Oh, a typical day. Well, first, I definitely start my day with prayer. I give my day to my higher power, which relieves me of a lot of stress. I then do a 7 a.m. Zoom meeting with AA. It just helps me put on that armor for the day. Then I like to hit the gym right away. I stick to a very strict and strenuous workout program, which is 6 days a week. And then I make that breakfast, that protein shake, and see what schedulings I have. I'm a hairdresser with a salon down in Lammer Square. So depending if I have clients that day or if not, I will make my to-do list.
That's great. So you seem to be about evolving and learning and growing. You're here to talk about spirituality, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what's the name of your show on Rhino Point Studios Network.
It is spirituality, not gurus, because we are not gurus.
So what does that mean, not gurus?
Well, I don't want to claim to know things that I don't know. I believe that I want to be as genuine as possible and just come in like many other people are coming in. We've all heard about tarot, but where does it originate from? Where did it come from? We put all this emphasis and hope for the future or hope for answers in these things, but where does it actually come from? What does it mean? I really love crystals. Why do I love certain crystals and where do they come from? I've been an avid crystal lover and for many years, and I just found out the other day that there's certain hues that really do exist naturally that aren't man-made. And that just blew my mind, like lime green and electric blue. And I'm just like, wow, it's like otherworldly. So just coming in from a fresh, genuine point of view, I think is something that will be fun to explore.
Nice, nice. So what made you interested in astrology and tarot and I guess, looking at spirituality beyond traditional kind of means like Christianity or
Well, I was raised Southern Baptist. I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky, and I've lived in Denver for 20 years. My father plays the piano for a church and always has. He is a 8th-generation pianist, and they all played pianos for churches. So I had the option of checking out different churches as a child, but I was raised Southern Baptist, which is I don't really know how to describe that. They're strict. They have a lot of crazy rules, but believe it or not, my sexuality had nothing to do with my separation from the church. I have always felt that my sexuality has helped my connection with my higher power because it made me realize that my higher power was going to love me for who I am, no matter what anyone said. So the fact that this institution of a church or religion was telling me that I was wrong, I knew that they were wrong. So I knew that I had to go on my own path and find my own journey spiritually. And so my grandmother introduced me to a church called Unity, which doesn't really have any denomination, and it really does have a huge mixture of people. And the main focus of that church is just loving and uniting one another. And so I kind of took that and created my own spirituality around that and found other things like crystals and meditations and chakra cleansing and created my own thing in my own community.
I love that you created your own thing that, can give you what you need as opposed to just leaning into traditional things. I also grew up in the Baptist church, so I completely understand. I was at church like 4 days a week.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
grew up on a dead end street, and at the end of the dead end street was the church.
Mm-hmm.
So all of our family members went there, and it was a very loving and welcoming place. And I only have good memories from it. Nothing bad or negative comes from it, and they never did condemn me for the child I was then. But as an adult, I realized that their way that they see things is not how I choose to live my life.
Gotcha. All right, so let's go a little bit into astrology. What's your sign?
I am a Capricorn.
Hmm.
I'm a Capricorn sun. I am an Aries moon and an Aries rising.
What does that mean to you?
Well, I just had my birth chart done. So I just found out my moon and my rising. So I am kind of like excited to find out more about the Aries side. A good friend of mine, Jo Shin, she showed me this website called Cafe Astrology, and I put in my birth chart information into there, and I got a very, very detailed free report, and it was almost overwhelming. So it did take me a couple of days to actually break it all down and digest it all. But what I found really enlightening from that was that a part of me wondered if I had some type of medical disorder like ADD or ADHD because of the way that my brain thinks. But after reading my birth chart, I realized that I don't have that. It's just how I think, which is a sigh of relief, but also quite stressful because that's just who I am.
So your birth chart, it was enlightening for you.
It was very enlightening. I do say I'm very much a Capricorn. I'm very headstrong. I'm very focused, very career oriented. I'm very efficient, and there's no gray area with me, I like to say. But there is a lot of fire here, which I'm just now discovering what it is. So again, it's all self-discovery. So I am very excited to dive into more of my birth chart and figure out some more of those things.
Very cool. All right. So now that have you ever had a professional reading?
I have not had a professional astrology reading. I've only ever had professional tarot readings.
Okay. So let's talk about tarot for a couple of minutes. What excites you about tarot? How did you get into tarot?
How did I get into tarot? I actually got into tarot from a friend that I worked at a salon with. And they had a deck called the Wild Unknown. And that is the deck that I also use now. And when I first started playing around with it and started learning about it, I was in a really weird place in my life. And one of my clients and friends is a professional tarot reader. Her name is Lady Speech. And she gave me a professional reading, and I pulled the death card, and I was really shook by that. And so she told me not to freak out, and I didn't, but I went home, and turns out the next day I ended up getting a divorce from my ex-husband. And it turned out that it was hard to ignore those things that she had just told me the day before. So that made me look at things completely different and take it seriously. So that's when I started doing some research, started studying a bit, and looking at it in a different light. But like many other things, I do know that you can't put too much energy into it. You can't oversaturate yourself with it. It has to be a balance. So that deck, I love it to death. So I'm very connected to that and when I need it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I hear that you have a love of crystals. I've seen part of your collection. So how did you get into crystals and using those?
It always starts with one, right? My favorite color is purple. So I think I went to Queen City and I saw a crystal there, and I wanted it, and I just thought it was super cool, and I showcased it in my house. Cut to maybe a few months later, I decided to get sober. And I don't know, I just liked having it around, and then wanted to do a bit more research on how the metaphysical properties of crystals and what they could do. And then I just started buying more and more. And then I met a gal, her name is Georgia. She has her own crystal company called the Virgo Gem Co. And she is a crystal guru. And she just opened up that world to me to help me realize that these things do have a lot of power. And if you choose to use them in the correct ways and in certain circumstances, they can really help you. And so I would start hitting her up whenever I felt like something crazy was going on in my life. And she would invite me over to her home and show me all these crystals. And I just got addicted that way. And now I don't know how many crystals I have. I have pendants. I get them on vacations. I always go to Georgia, but I can't go anywhere without my crystals. I travel with them, put them in my pockets, in my bags, the salon. They mean a lot to me.
That's so great. I love that. I've seen a number of your crystals. Well, not a number, but I've seen a few of them when you brought them, over to a friend's house, and I was very impressed because there were crystals I had never seen before in my life.
And that's the fun part. Like, I don't want just some basic crystals. I want to know, like, also, why am I drawn to this crystal? That's one fun thing that I love is like, I have all these crystals, right? So I feel like I'm drawn to this one today for whatever reason. And I'll look up that definition and turns to find out it's usually pertaining to something that's going on in my life. There's crystals for social media, and one of my videos went viral after I've been wearing that like for a week. Didn't really know why. Just little things like that, little coincidences that I don't believe are coincidences. Especially in stressful situations, there's certain crystals for that. I deal with high anxiety, so crystals like sodalite helps deal with that for sure.
That's awesome. So you're doing a show about spirituality, but you're not a guru. So tell us, what is your goal with this show?
Well, my goal is to just express to people that there's a path for everyone, and it doesn't have to look like everyone else's. As long as our main goal is to love one another and unify and to help one another, I think that our spiritual path is aligned. So exploring different options like certain bookstores, certain palm readings, crystals, tarot, anything, all of that, I think we can gain nuggets of wisdom from and create our own spirituality.
Love it. So you're what I guess I'm trying to think of the proper way to say this. I guess what would you want the audience, the people who are watching you, is that the big takeaway that you want them to have from the show?
That is a big takeaway. Also, I think just the consciousness of your spirituality throughout your day. I am in AA, I am in recovery, but I am always thinking about ways to better myself. We are not perfect. And so I ask my higher power to remove my defects of character. One of my biggest defects of character is judgment. I can judge people that I don't know. And when I catch myself doing that, I stop myself and tell that little voice, I don't need you today. But that alone, you've already won. So there's no sense in wallowing the fact that you judge that stranger for 2 seconds, The fact is stopping yourself. So that sense of being conscious and aware of your actions and wanting to better that, that's the biggest thing that I would want in my audience to take from this.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so let people know where they can find you.
I have a Facebook and Instagram. Also, I'm on TikTok and YouTube. My YouTube channel is Christoph Key, Laughing Through Life, single, gay, and sober. Single for now.
That's right.
No, single for a while.
All right. So, do you want to show some crystals? Did you bring any?
I did. I brought a couple crystals and a couple of books.
Okay. So we're going to pause for a second.